So one of the big ones is finally here. Hello, everybody. This is Ashley, joined by Owen
Hello, Internet.
and AJ
Yeah.
to cover the predictions for all 23 categories. So, hang on. 22 times 5 is 110. 120. 120 categories, unless some of the categories mysteriously become free because they got that desperate. It goes all BAFTA-y. For the Oscars, succinct to the point. Quickly going through some of the chat. Bry won't be posting predictions here, saving for his channel after the BAFTA noms. Spencer also mentions Godzilla won to sight over snow for the win, and congrats Owen on predicting the Barbie category change.
Yes, AJ got put over before, now I'm getting put over. It's nice.
Josie saying first time watching since last time after time, the scent of the green papaya and set it off. Josie also mentions, relating to what happened yesterday, so upset that Better Call Saul got zero enemies. Maybe.
I had
50, 53 nominations and it didn't win a single one of them over its reign. That being said, that means it's alongside It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and The Wire, and they are very critically regarded anyway, so... Time at the Time was a great time travel movie. Funny how Mary Steenburgen was in that decade prior to Back to the Future 3. All four of the real H.G. Wells children were still alive at the time of its original release. The title inspired Time After Time from Cyndi Lauper when she browsed for a TV copy of TV Guide for imaginary song titles. And the second of two Jack the Ripper films released in 1979. The other one was Murder by Decree. Scent of the Green Papaya was excellent. Such a beautiful coming-of-age story and amazing cinematography. Love the colour. What a great sensory experience. And a brief bit of set-it-off trivia. Latifah's first leading role in a feature film, and also apparently her favourite role of all time. And then the other thing to mention from Bry, we add another name to the hallowed halls. Elton John finally is an EGOT.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason, I would have thought he was already on that list, but I guess not.
Yeah, it seemed like it would be the case.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do very much television stuff, to be fair, so... And technically it wasn't, but it was just a streaming thing on Disney+. So... and then Josie mentions Jada Pinkett Smith and Queen Latifah would reunite after that for Girls Trip. Right. Hang on. Make a note of where we are in the video roughly. Why isn't the number moving? Okay, I'm going to roughly say predictions start at 6 minutes. Because I don't know where that timer is. Let's get into it. Because this will be long enough as it is. Actually, before we do, Josie, call off on the trivia stuff because we're getting into prediction stuff, so we're not going to be able to focus a lot on it. Rosie Perez was originally cast as Frankie Sutton. Vivica A. Fox originally auditioned to play T.T. Williams before eventually being cast as Frankie. Fox was busy doing Independence Day at the time and was coached on her audition by Will Smith, who at the time was dating and later married Jada Pinkett Smith. Keep your mouth on your goddamn mouth! Who would already... Oh, and Josie just put... Yesterday I brought up how I related a lot of Poor Things minus sex as an individual on the autism spectrum. To me, the film can be looked as an allegory of the autism experience. What was your take on it? Think that's fair?
I think it's logical.
I also appreciate that, Emma Stone had to do an interview on the BBC today to defend the sex. Basically saying, considering what the character goes through, it's sort of Frankenstein-esque in that it's the character sort of finding themselves. So, of course, the sex could get weird. Which it does. But, yeah. Predictions will get underway. My guess is, AJ, we're probably starting with the toughest ones to predict, i.e. the shorts.
Almost. I want to start with visual effects.
I've got two.
Oh, we're going to start with VFX, okay.
Alright, so there were a few here that I kind of consider. Basically, the only ones I didn't consider that are on the short list were Napoleon and Rebel Moon. Maybe I'm underestimating Rebel Moon. I don't know. I actually haven't even watched Rebel Moon yet, so. But what I do know is I did consider the Dial of Destiny, but at the same time, it's like the whole idea of when DH Harrison Ford is sitting still, he looks amazing. When DH Harrison Ford is moving around, he does not look amazing. And when a lot of the action scenes are very green screeny and CGI heavy, you can really tell. So I went ahead and ousted it. I thought about Mission Impossible, but as good as Mission Impossible's effects are, I feel like it's definitely another one where in the action scenes you can see the scenes. You can see where the effects and the screens are and all that. And I almost went with Society of the Snow because I think a question throughout is going to be how international do the texts get? Because Society of the Snow and Zone of Interest could show up a lot in the text if they want to. But I imagine, while there's probably a lot of subtle effects in it also, there's like the main scene. It would be sort of like when Hereafter got into this category just for the one tidal wave sequence. But at the last minute, I switched Society of the Snow out with the last one I went with. So with visual effects, I ended up with The Creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians of the Galaxy, Poor Things, and Across the Spider-Verse. Making Across the Spider-Verse, the third movie that would make visual effects after Nightmare Before Christmas and Kubo? I was thinking there was maybe one more recently, but I don't remember. But, yeah.
Can't think off the top of my head any others. Pretty similar. My 5 are The Creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians Volume 3, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 54, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I put it in here because I feel this is the only place where, stunt visual effects might actually be included. And this is sort of their compensation for the fact that we still don't have a stunt category. In terms of what happens. Similarly, in terms of the ones that I left out, some of the Uncanny Valley gone wrong for Indiana Jones, didn't feel it was like anything there. The amount of fury over or the CGI that was put in Napoleon. Yeah, let's say he destroyed the Sphinx nose. That happened, right? Rebel Moon is the threat because, as usual, we get a film that's terrible that somehow gets a visual effects Oscar, usually, or somewhere in the text. So that could be the one.
Well, I wouldn't say it's terrible, but I would say The Creator is pretty close to fitting that bill.
Yeah, but that's going to be a shoo-in. That's the problem. That's shown up a lot in the visual effects stuff, even from the Guild. So, whereas Rebel Moon hasn't. Society of the Snow also has a shout, and yeah, it depends how they want to go with Poor Things VFX. But those are the five I'm going with.
Same rules apply. It seems like we're pretty much in agreement of 4 of them, and each of us has a different number 5. AJ went with the one that I want to choose, but I can't. Ashley went with the one that I can't choose, and I won't. And I went with the one AJ mentioned, but he couldn't. So joining the creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I also have my special one, which is going to be Society of the Snow. So we're all getting points. It looks like we're all getting 4 points, but the question is, who's getting that 5th point?
I'm really actually not completely sold on Spider-Man's the one I put in at the last minute when I took Society of Snow out.
I feel they're going to want to give Spider-Man a lot more, or at least they're going to try to, which also goes against my predictions, to be quite honest with you. But I feel that it's here, and it's probably here for a reason. Creator, I see everywhere. Same with Godzilla.
No.
Only 22 more.
Next,
What are we going with?
sound.
Okay. I gotta find mine.
There were 2 that I struggled with that I didn't put in, and then there's the 5, which I am not confident in except for like 2 or 3 of them. So let's see what happens. I have Ferrari, Kills of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Mission Impossible, and Oppenheimer. For the longest time, I had the Zone of Interest instead of Mission Impossible. But I don't know. I felt like Mission Impossible was going to get into like one tech category, and with this pretty much being the lowest one, I thought, maybe. Napoleon kind of crossed my mind also. I wasn't completely sure about Ferrari, but I do feel like, when you combine, the idea of racing scenes with Michael Mann, who is, if Michael Mann's going to devote his attention to one thing, it would probably be sound.
Sure.
And that comes through in those scenes. So, like I said, even though there's few of them still, I felt not completely confident going with that, but it's what I'm going to go with. But I had the Zone of Interest in for a long time before I traded it out for Mission Impossible, so we'll see if I regret that or not. Like I said, the question I have throughout a lot of these is if the Zone of Interest or Society of the Snow is in there or not, because they could show up quite a bit in the text if they go that route.
Again, somewhat similar, unsurprisingly. I have Barbie, Ferrari, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Zone of Interest as my 5. Because as we know, they like war and they like vehicles. So considering, there's lots of vehicles in Barbie as well, although not really properly used to that intention. And I think Maestro will probably be more of like the sound mixing rather than editing, with obviously, being a musical or a music based film. There's one that usually makes it in, so that's my logic.
The thing that's really unhelpful to me is, with the exception of like one still, I am 100% blind on the Zone of Interest right now. I have no idea. I know like the basic idea of the plot, but I don't know what exactly is shown of anything. So that's difficult.
And mine is very similar to both of yours, just mixed together. Now, we talk about the Zone of Interest and the fact of it getting some major nominations, and I'm not going to subscribe to one big one that I keep seeing everywhere because I don't have any room. This was a category that I thought about putting it in, but I backtracked at the last minute. And that might serve me well, it may not. But I have my sound lineup as Barbie, Ferrari, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, and Oppenheimer.
I'm trying to remember what makes the sound stand out about Barbie.
I think if there's a want to nominate it for the moon, then they're going to at this point. I don't think it's going to win much, but I feel that it's getting nominated for a lot of things.
In that respect, it's probably more on the editing side than mixing to some extent.
That's why I'm glad the sounds are combined, because now I don't have to guess.
Because at least, yeah, I'm just looking at the Sound Mixing Guild's Barbie made it in.
Mm-hmm.
And did I delete half those things by accident? Oh, great. Oh, no, there we go. Yeah, so it made it in for music editing, dialogue, and ADR in the Sound Editing Guild. Not effects and Foley. That was just a lot of racing stuff and loud noises.
All right. The next one I wanted to go to was animated feature.
What's your order?
Animated, international, documentary short, then up through the
Okay.
shorts.
All right. I don't understand your order, but you obviously have a reason.
This is gonna blow your mind, man. This is the order we do every year.
I don't pay attention. I just write.
I think it's the order we do every year. In the middle, it might get foggy, but this is always the same order.
That's fine.
So I'm confident in 2 of these, maybe 3.
Same.
The rest are kind of, let's see what the hell happens.
Yes.
I have, let me double check that I have a title correct really quick. I don't typically have to do this kind of thing, but I am just not familiar with this movie at all. So, if I can type it into Google correctly, that'll help. There we are. Okay, yes, that is the correct title. Okay, I have The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Across the Spider-Verse, and fuck it, I'll say Ninja Turtles. Because I kind of hope that's kind of the one that I'm behind, not having seen The Boy and the Heron yet, or Nimona, but didn't Nimona go like crazy at the Annies or something unexpectedly?
It certainly did.
And I feel like it was, even before that, it was like pretty acclaimed, even though it wasn't always on the radar. And there's always kind of that left field animated movie. So let's see if that happens.
All right, Ashley.
So mine might stir a few things. I have The Boy and the Heron, Nimona, Robot Dreams, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. So not only does Disney not make it in, not even Aardman makes it in for Chicken Run. Even though I know normally when anything stop motion animation style is usually presented to the Academy, it basically gets in by default. I kind of just didn't feel it about it. I didn't have the same sort of it didn't have the same charm to me as the original did. I'm just wondering whether we are going to get sort of two G Kids, because I think Robot Dreams. Well, no, Robot Dreams I think is Neon rather than G Kids, but I guess 2 quote independent ones, depending whether you can see Netflix as independent now with Nimona. But yeah, I think it'll be fascinating to see if Disney does make it in, because, you know, Elemental was okay. If Wish makes it in here, I don't know who's smoking anything.
Well, I mean, we did have that year where the Boss Baby and Ferdinand made it, so. But I think that was a different rule, wasn't it? Where it's like this is the year where everybody votes for animated, so nothing
Probably.
inspired got in.
All right. I commend you both on going with Turtles because I wanted to. I really did. I feel like it should be in here, but I couldn't do it because my lineup is The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Across the Spider Verse. Just cut off the middleman. I don't need to say much. So,
Yeah.
All right, so international.
okay.
Here's where I need to be ready to copy and paste, probably. Because I have them in the list of country rather than the name. So
Here's the question: how many documentaries end up here?
ooh,
Yeah.
fair
if
point.
any?
Yeah.
I have one doubling up, and I know what it annoys me because I know what I would say if I wasn't doubling up. But yeah, I'm going with Fallen Leaves, Godland, Society of the Snow, 20 Days in Mariupol, and The Zone of Interest. If I wasn't going with 20 Days and Mariupol in both categories, I would have said Perfect Days. And I was initially going to say The Taste of Things instead of Godland, but when I looked at it, it seemed a bit too. All of these have kind of been mentioned, and usually foreign will have like, or international will have like 4 that have always been in it, and then a totally random one. So,
Right.
Godland's the one that I kind of just pulled out. So we'll see. The Promised Land kind of kept dancing around in my head also. But that's what I ended up with. So, yeah.
Ashley.
Pretty similar. I also have Finland's Fallen Leaves, Spain's Society of the Snow, Ukraine's 20 Days in Mariupol, and the UK Zone of Interest. But of course, we always get the roll of the dice one. And you're probably thinking, I probably went with Yak, which isn't on here because I'm on the new computer, so that I haven't got it set up yet. But the Yak will be back, probably, at some point. I probably could. I didn't go with Bhutan though. I went with the one that stood out because it was the first time I think they've made it in, which was Amarakatsi from Armenia. I was tossing up a coin between that and Morocco, going with the country that sort of doesn't normally get recognition. That always seems to happen with at least 1 or 2 entries each year. So Armenia is my flip of the coin, even though the coin has got multiple sides. But the key thing is, France don't make it in. You bastard.
All right. Well, it seems like, as always, it's kind of a crapshoot what's going to come up here. And I also went with the countries myself, Ashley, so
No problem.
we're in the same boat there. I went with Finland's Fallen Leaves, Germany's The Teacher's Lounge, Japan's Perfect Days, Spain's Society of the Snow, and yes, United Kingdom's Zone of Interest. Very safe. Very, very safe. And it immediately made me nervous because I realized real quick, I don't know about you two, but stuff seemed too obvious, and that scares me. Because it makes me think that some of these categories, there's some wild swings that are coming that no one sees coming.
I feel that's why myself and AJ went with, the one from a country that doesn't have that much output usually. Everything you came with is sort of relatively like major market.
I have to be safe this year because
Yeah.
going out on a limb has really worked so well these past couple years.
Briefly to the comments so we don't get too backed up. Bryce says, let's see if any of you guys can have Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things getting double-digit nominations. If you want to tally up what we've predicted
Please
of
do.
everything, please do, Bry. Unless, if you're counting the live-action remake of The Lion King, Spider-Verse would be the third animated film to get in. So I guess, you know... I forgot that was considered animated when it was live-action. There we go. Animated movies tend to do well at BAFTA VFX. I wouldn't be surprised to see Spider-Verse make it in for VFX at BAFTA rather than Oscar. Josie picks a Boy in the Heron, Nimona, Spider-Man, Suzume, and is tossing it up between Ninja Turtles and Robot Dreams for her fifth. Also,
Okay.
Josie asks you, AJ, your thoughts on Max and Bella's relationship, possibly like Bleecker and Juno's from Juno.
That wouldn't have really crossed my mind before, but yeah, I suppose to an extent, I could kind of see it maybe.
I thought I'd mention it there, Josie, because there'll probably be a lot of comments. Sorry, we should have probably left it for later, but whatever. Hi, Timothy Knight.
Hey, Tim.
Josie says the Book of Robot Dreams is at the library at the minute, where she works. 2 lookouts for another indie animator, Ernest and Celestine, A Trip to Giberta, and Perlimps, the latter being from the guy that did Boy in the World from a few years back. Josie says, I would have said Perfect Days and The Taste of Things, but they took so many hits. Who's going to be this year's a hero in Decision to Leave?
Yeah, I think that's The Taste of Things.
Which apparently Scent of the Green Papaya is actually from the same director. Godland was added to the Criterion Janus Contemporaries line, so it wouldn't be surprised me if that made it in. And considering Italy does pretty well, Josie says it wouldn't be surprised if Io Capitano makes it in as well.
I thought about that one as well, Josie, honestly. I saw it pop up a lot.
Nice. To the docs.
So, first of all, is there anybody that's not saying that still is the annual big snub in this category? Or are we all headed in that direction?
I got nothing to lose, my friend.
Let's see. Yesterday they played the Back to the Future trilogy again. I couldn't tell if that was a sign, one way or the other. But, I am going with American Symphony, Beyond Utopia, Four Daughters, Stamped from the Beginning, and 20 Days in Mariupol. I kind of considered Apollonia for some reason that I can't. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with the. It always goes one of two ways. Either there's the documentary that was always gonna sweep, or the documentary that looked like it was always gonna sweep that doesn't make it at all. And still, it could be either one of those. But I'm gonna go with the snub because that's the one that usually happens.
My list is 20 Days in Mariupol, because that's how it always reverts, at least on spreadsheets. Numbers are before letters. So 20 Days in Mariupol, American Symphony, Beyond Utopia, Four Daughters, and still a Michael J. Fox film. Or a Michael J. Fox movie. Because I feel that it's interesting with the guilds, it wasn't getting as many documentary inclusions as I thought it was going to. don't get me wrong, it got a lot, but I think there's enough to possibly warrant it actually making it in, because I'm sort of not confident about making it possibly into the BAFTA long list. Really, I think maybe, the Little Richard or the Wham stuff. We'll talk about this properly, next week when we get to BAFTA reactions and everything. But I think that's where still might miss. Especially because at least with most of these other ones, I feel they've been much more widely seen or talked about or actually shown in cinemas, whereas Still has just sat there on Apple TV Plus with very little sort of fanfare about it. Okay, it's shown up in American awards, but nobody's really said in Britain, go watch it, it's amazing. It's been more sort of the 20 Days in Mariupol and your Four Daughters, the big sort of documentaries, sort of like how Collective was a few years back. The stuff that feels like investigative journalism rather than just presenting somebody's story. So that's why I'm thinking Still could still make it in with the Oscars, because it might get snubbed at BAFTA. We'll see.
So, documentary is always interesting because, like AJ said, they do have something that seems very likely and then it just misses out. And honestly, I didn't even consider that when I was trying to make my predictions. So, yay, shame on me. I'll make it real easy on everyone playing the home game right now. I have the exact same predictions Ashley does. American Symphony, Beyond Utopia, Four Daughters, Still, a Michael J. Fox movie, and 20 Days in Mariupol.
Nice. Okay. Here's the thing.
Let's roll some dice.
Usually when it comes to the shorts and we get the short lists, I usually go on this big run for about a week, the week up to us doing this, and I find as many as I can, and I actually watch them, and the ones that I can't find, I'll look up to at least see what they are, and then I'll do this whole big thing where I try to choose with all of that, and I usually end up seeing most of them.
Yeah. I
got there was a couple of years ago, I think I saw 14 out of the 15 documentary shorts before nominations day. So if you've been on the channel for the last week or so, I've basically been recovering from death all week. Yes. So I don't know shit about any of these.
Neither do I.
So I'm just going to list them because I've got nothing else to say otherwise. All random. For documentary short, I have the ABCs of book banning, whichever. Black Girls Play, The Story of Hand Games, How We Get Free, Dreams Were Lightning, Rural Healthcare Crisis. I think if they have colons, they're usually fair game. And The Last Repair Shop.
Okay, so this is stock feature.
That's all I got. If they've got a colon and they're in documentary, they might have a decent chance.
That's fair.
I'm having to delete the quotation marks from where I copied it from the Oscar long list on the spreadsheet. So, again, I sort of did a bit of looking into it. Probably less so than AJ would usually do. So it's weird that there's quite a lot of matching here. So AJ might have fluked it. I don't know. I have the ABCs of book banning, Black Girls Play, The Story of Hand Games, Deciding Vote, The Last Repair Shop, and Last Song from Kabul.
What was the last one? I couldn't hear that last one.
Last Song from Kabul, or Kabul.
Okay, cool. Sorry, can I cut out a little bit?
No problem.
Didn't really do much research either. Obviously the shorts. This is the one that I have. These are the shorts of the ones that I have either a good time being able to watch in my comfortable AMC theater, or I have to go across town to a theater that I very rarely go to because I need to see this last group of 5. So this time around, I kind of did about the same thing the panel did, but there's actually one that's different. Just like most of these. I have the ABCs of book banning. I have the Barber of Little Rock. I have Black Girls Play the Story of Hand Games, Deciding Vote, and The Last Repair Shop.
All right, live action.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to keep track of everything here. Easy.
I have The After, The Anne Frank Gift Shop, Invisible Border, Red, White, and Blue, and The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. I kind of questioned Henry Sugar because it's almost too high profile. But usually when there's one with like high profile actors, it's like sometimes those get in, but not always. And if there's a high profile director, you're like sometimes maybe, but not always. This is high profile cast and high profile director, so I guess we'll see. We've been saying how they're not really all over Wes Anderson anymore. I guess we'll see if that bleeds into the short categories too or not.
All right.
Again, of course, there's a lot of crossover because there's some that stand out more than others. So I have the Anne Frank Gift Shop, Invisible Border, The One Note Man, Strange Way of Life, and The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. Mainly because I don't want Strange Way of Life to have been out there in the existence and then get snubbed. Then again, it could easily happen. And then also, I have put in The One Note Man, not just because it made it in for BAFTA, but literally on the local news, because it turns out it was made somewhat locally to me. They specifically said it had an Oscar nomination. So if they somehow got the result a week beforehand, boy, how is this a world exclusive?
Dear God. All right. Yeah, it's a mashup of both of yours. My lineup for best live action short is The After, The Anne Frank Gift Shop, Red, White, and Blue, Strange Way of Life, and The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. Basically, I'm rooting for Wes Anderson for obvious reasons, and for the fact that this is the only way I have to see it if it gets nominated. And it's hard to go against Almodovar here too, honestly. If you want to talk about being too high profile with Anderson, Almodovar is right on that cusp as well. So they could both get in, or they could both miss, or one could get in and one could miss, and it could go either way.
I'm trying to think. Pedro made it in a few years back, didn't he, for the one with Tilda Swinton?
I believe so.
Or did it miss?
I'm really confused because I was just trying to figure out if this was the same Almodovar one, and I just didn't realize it hadn't come out yet, or if he already did one previously also that was in competition. I was thinking he missed, but I don't know. My brain's not reliable.
Don't worry.
At the moment.
That's
well, it's funny.
That's why Google is my... No, well, not Google. Oh, wait,
I
yeah.
mean, just
Human Voice did miss.
Just looking at the fact this is an Almodovar short that has Ethan Hawke and Pedro Pascal in it, I really feel like it writes itself to have an inclusion in this lineup.
And which one is that one?
That's Strange Way of Life. It is a Spanish Western drama.
Well, I can't wait to see that, whether it's in or not.
It's Pedro Almodovar's Brokeback Mountain, as a lot of people described it.
I've heard that too.
The other important thing and difference between that and Human Voice from a few years back is there's more than one person in it. and there's more than one dog. Well, that's the only two things. This, Tilda Swinton and a dog is the only people that are in that other one. This one at least has 8 or 9 people in, so it feels more like a short film.
All right, animated short.
Yes.
All right, here are these guesses.
Oh God.
I can't remember the original title, but Dog Apartment is what I wrote down.
You are correct.
Eva, Letter to a Pig, 95 Senses, and Pete.
Ashley.
Hang on. Oh, I see that one. That and that. I can copy there. Put that there. In the wrong order, but whatever. Oh no, I'll put that in there because that's the order that it is. And then, it's spelled out 95 senses. As you can tell, I don't have that in my list. So mine is Humo, or Smoke, however you want to call it. Letter to a Pig, Once Upon a Studio, because Disney always makes it in somewhere, and this is the only chance it even has. Pachyderm, and just because I felt I had to go with something that at least made it in the Annies, because this entire category was a complete wipe other. War is Over, inspired by the music of John and Yoko.
Nice.
I forgot. I was going to explain why I didn't say Once Upon a Studio.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Brian had been asking us for quite some time what we thought of it, and we kept not being able to give him an answer. But I don't know about you guys, but I did finally see the fucking thing. And it's not really anything. I'm kind of surprised it was even shortlisted. It feels more like a bumper from the old Disney Channel than it feels like a proper short. It's just a roll call of all of the characters to take a picture, and about 90% of the characters speaking is just sound bites from the movies. Like, not even some get newly recorded dialogue, but it's just like, oh, I'll get him, or we better hurry, and that's it. And then Mickey longingly looks at a picture of Walt. They take the fucking picture, and that's it. So it's not anything really. It's an ad, actually, if you want to call it anything. It's nice, but it's a little weird when you can tell that they're just speaking in sound bites, like when Robin Williams speaks as the genie. It's clearly a recording of Robin Williams from the 90s, and it just felt weird, actually. Like, it mostly felt endearing, but sometimes it felt kind of just weird. And I don't know how anybody else felt about it, but I don't know.
This is a tough one. Animated, weirdly enough, has had some of my most fun movies I've enjoyed, unironically, in the seasons, because of the fact that there's such an entertaining way to kill a few minutes. And they've been some really garbage movies that I'd like to just destroy as well and not remember I even watched. This year I don't know what it's going to be because I haven't done any research and I'm just going with names. So, that being said, I'm also going to go with Dog Apartment because Quarter, sure, that seems to be everywhere. Letter to a Pig seems to be everywhere. I also have Pachyderm. I also have Once Upon a Studio. And I also have 95 Senses. I believe it was 27 was another thing that was listed on here too. That was my last cut from the group. I switched it to 95 Senses at the last minute. If it gets nominated, I'm going to hate myself. That's okay. That's what happens on these days.
Now, if it had been about convenience store clerks and called 37, that would have been another thing entirely.
Yes, 100%. Thank you for making a cheap plug right now. Get your Major Bendy of Jay and Silent Bob in clerk style, black and white, available. Major Wrestling Figure Podcast online.
Bry says, I think Once Upon a Studio should be ruled ineligible because it premiered on television. Technically, no. It was at
No, technically no.
the
You brought it
Anos,
up yourself.
the Anansi Animation Festival premiered it in June. It only sort of made it to wide release when they stuck it with the Encanto premiere back in October.
It was with Wish during the sneak preview of it, but it did not make it when Wish got to theaters. That's how it came under my radar.
Mm-hmm. And it's they finally decided to shove it on YouTube. It took a while.
Maybe I'll be watching it theatrically soon. I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Oh, Bry also says, fun fact on Once Upon a Studio, the scene where Mickey's looking at Walt, the music you're hearing is Feed for the Bird that was actually played by Robert Sherman on the piano.
Yep. Mary Poppins, Feed the Birds.
I'm surprised as well, looking at like the cast list, how many of the ones that I thought would have been archive recordings were actually new recordings. You know, James Woods was actual, supposedly new dialogue. It wasn't archival.
Was it during the award ceremony the other day that they showed that clip of basically everybody in like the studio doing like recording lines and everything like that? Was that on Critics' Choice the other day when we were watching that? Because I know I saw it somewhere recently.
Possibly either
right.
during that or the Globe somewhere, trying to push the Disney 100 thing.
Well, I didn't see the Globe, so that would tell you it had to be Critics' Choice because there's no other way I could have seen it unless it was like a YouTube bumper ad, which is possible too.
Yeah.
AJ's not wrong. It's basically just re-recording just like random snippets of dialogue that don't make much sense just to record. But I still think it's cool they got most of the people back.
And I know the archival recordings isn't totally because they're dead, because you've got Joseph Gordon-Levitt being a archival recording from Treasure Planet, David Spade archival from Empire's New Groove, so, and then Billy Joel as as Dodger from Oliver and Company was archival as well, and also Aquafina. She didn't bother to re-record; they just got the clip from Raya and the Last Dragon. It's not just because they're dead.
Speaking of Disney, except maybe this year, music categories.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where are we going?
We'll start with song.
I'm good with that.
I don't have anything Disney here. At least I don't think so.
It's not nominated, I don't think.
Well, actually, I think one of these actually was on Disney Plus for whatever reason, but for more technical reason than being a typical Disney movie. I have It Never Went Away from American Symphony. I'm Just Ken from Barbie. What Was I Made For from Barbie. Fire Inside from Flamin' Hot. That's the Diane Warren song, correct?
Yes, it is.
And I went with Quiet Eyes from Past Lives.
Nice.
Sorry, Lenny Kravitz and whoever else.
He wants to get away. That's all I know. Put in Lenny Kravitz and it's exactly the same list. So yeah, along with Road to Freedom from Rustin, I have It Never Went Away from American Symphony. I'm Just Ken from Barbie. What Was I Made For from Barbie? And The Fire Inside from Flaming Hot. Because why, ladies and gentlemen, Diane motherfucking Warren! Every year.
So yeah, it's pretty much a certainty at this point. It's weird. I'd love to go with Quiet Eyes here, but I can't. So I revert back to Ashley's predictions, which are also mine. But I will say, if you want to you want to throw the wrench in the plan about the younger, more popular artists getting in here outside of a regular established artist that would be getting in here normally for the song and not necessarily just for the person. Olivia Rodrigo actually has a song from the Hunger Games film that is getting a little traction as well, which I've seen a few times. And it's funny because the John Batiste song from American Symphony, I thought was under people's radar, but apparently it's not because I'm seeing it everywhere and I feel like everyone's going with the same five.
Now, I haven't looked at anything. I just went number one because of John Batiste and two because of the context.
Oh yeah, and American Symphony being a double nomination, of course, because of Earlier in the Night, if everything falls into place. So.
Yeah, and this used to be a category the documentary was in nearly every year for a while there.
So again, if you're playing the home game, I have the same thing Ashley does. John Batiste, American Symphony, and Never Went Away. Mark Ronson via Ryan Gosling, I'm Just Ken from Barbie. Billy and Phineas for What Was I Made For Barbie. Diane Warren, because obviously for The Fire Inside from Flamin' Hot. Yeah, the Cheetos movie is going to be an Oscar nominee. Congratulations, everyone. And we'll get there. Lenny Kravitz for Road to Freedom from Rustin.
I only partially put it in as well because Tony Shalhoub's in Flaming Hot. Let's give him another film that isn't Cars that is going to get Oscar nominated.
We are going to score next, it looks like.
This one was troubling because this is another one where it's like Society of the Snow and Zone of Interest could be in here.
You're also not wrong.
I kept putting them in and out. Both of them. Kept going in and out. And I ended up not going with any of them.
Same! Exact same.
So if that's what you did, we probably have the same five.
It would not surprise
Let's
me
find
one
out.
bit.
Tension mounting.
Let's find. Okay, guys. Do we all have Boy and the Heron?
No.
Really? You fucked it up already.
I'm good at that. Ask anybody. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me.
Okay. I do know we surely we all have Killers of the Flower Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Oppenheimer. And Poor Things. And Across the Spider-Verse?
Yep.
Okay. There we go. The hell did you put first?
You'll find out soon enough. I think you might be shocked. Probably not what Ashley put either. What do you got, Ashley?
I have Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and The Zone of Interest.
Oh, yeah.
Spidey. So, Ashley throws Zone of Interest at me. AJ throws Boy and the Heron at me. May I bring someone else to the conversation instead? I think I'm going to.
Oh god, it's John Williams. Oh no.
I have Killers of the Flower Moon. I have Oppenheimer. I have Poor Things. I have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And welcome to the conversation, a movie that really deserves any nomination it gets this year. American Fiction.
Ooh.
My god, at least it wasn't John Williams.
It was not going to be. Ever. It wasn't even a thought in my mind. Now, I do not discount this. Thomas Newman was on my list at one point. Just because of who he is. But I didn't go with it. I almost ran Elemental twice, but when a lot of people don't necessarily think it's going to run once, but I didn't because I changed my mind. Because I do that from time to time. Next.
This is the one that I have the least faith in myself in.
Oh boy.
I
Where
just
are we
look at
going?
this. I look at this category with no certainty whatsoever, and that is makeup.
Yep.
Again, I was really, really, really going to go with Society of the Snow, and then I didn't. I can't even remember what I replaced it with at the last minute. But they seem to like character makeup more than anything else, usually. So with that in mind, I went Ferrari, Golda, Maestro, Oppenheimer, a lot of names, and Poor Things. Poor Things was on the short list, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has to be because otherwise I messed up.
Yeah. I basically did have Society of Snow, and then I think I realized I didn't have something obvious in like Poor Things or something.
My 5 are Through Gritted Teeth, Beau is Afraid, along with Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow.
I also have Gritted Teeth because I don't know if AJ's watched it yet, but now he kind of has to. Because Golda is the first one on my list.
I've not.
I saw Beau is Afraid on a couple of lists, actually, so you're definitely not alone here. I feel that I made a mistake when I didn't go with Ferrari. But that might be the Golda spot. Or it might be the other movie that AJ didn't go with, but I did. So joining Golda, we have Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow.
Before we do this next category, I'm going to make a last minute change here because I think they're going to be a little more boring than I'm giving them credit for.
Where are we going? What is our category? Oh, crap. What is our category?
Production design.
I gotta find it. Okay.
I actually struggle with this one because there's a couple of ways they could get creative with this if they wanted to.
I got one.
Yeah, it's probably what you have is probably the one I just took out and put a more boring choice in its place.
I'm pretty sure you're probably right.
So what I just took out was Saltburn.
Not
I
having
had
it.
I had it in there. It was ready to go, and then I took it out while you just fucking saw me do it. Asteroid City has been popping its head back in occasionally, but like I said, if they didn't put the French Dispatch in production design, something tells me they're done with Wes Anderson for a while, unless Henry Sugar gets into short. I also think this is something The Color Purple could get into.
It needs some sort of visibility right now.
Yeah,
Bad.
there's not a lot of places left for The Color Purple. This it would not surprise me if this is a place it wanted to pop up.
Yeah, I can see that.
So with those out, I have Napoleon. I really considered too,
Fair.
but so that basically leaves me with Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Maestro is the boring choice I put in place of Saltburn just now.
Okay.
So yeah.
What do you got, Ashley?
Joining Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things is Asteroid City. So Wes might get at least 2 Oscar nominations for 2 different projects.
I didn't even think about Saltburn. That would have been nice. I would have liked that. But Spoiler alert, as much as I hate to say it, I feel like Saltburn's going home empty-handed. It's gonna stay home that the night of the Oscars. It's not going to be allowed to have fun, sadly.
That makes me curious about what you did for one category.
We'll get there. Like I said, I told the live audience last night that I got my boysenberry barbecue sauce from Knott's Berry Farm to eat a little crow tonight, and we're gonna get there a little bit later. But weirdly enough, at the end of the day, I have Ashley's lineup: Asteroid City, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
Quickly jumping to the chat. Josie says, my dad always hated James Woods.
Interesting.
Mr. Top Hat's in saying, I learned last year to never bet against Diane Warren. Yeah, even when she gets an honorary one, they still give her a nod. If they weren't really inspired, they should go with I'm Just Ken, Keep On Moving from The Colour Purple, High Life, and Meet in the Middle from Flora and Son, and Dear Alien Who Art in Heaven from Asteroid City.
I would love that so much. If it ever happened.
And all on-screen performances, if I'm correct. Dear Alien Who Are in Heaven would be like the song when a cowboy trades his spurs for wings getting in. Top Hat saying, what was I made for? I'm Just Ken, Keep It Moving, Roads of Freedom and the Fire Inside for song. I wouldn't count out the song from My People, the song from My People song from Killers of the Flower Moon. Sight of the Snow is the highest international film on Netflix. Yeah, I wonder if this could help it with some below-the-line categories. Maybe. I'm kind of amazed that people have watched that more than Roma, but whatever. But I said I thought Owen was going to say Barbie for score. Josie says,
I kind of just love that the Diane Warren thing isn't even a secret anymore. It went under the radar for so long, and now everybody is aware. Which actually is starting to make me wonder now. But
Yep.
I mean, if that was Applause, the one that was just last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that can happen, anything can happen. So.
I wouldn't rule out Giacchino for Sight of the Snow, but he's been screwed over time and time again after his Up win and got robbed for a nod last year for Batman.
I agree with that.
I'm guessing this is for score. Top Hat says Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Beyond the Spider-Verse, and Zone of Interest. For makeup, Top Hat has Golden, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow. You were saying?
The Zone of Interest, and just the trailer alone, that doom and gloom score, I can definitely see that slipping in there. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for you to be right, Ashley. I finally get to see it next week, so I'm looking forward to that.
I say when you say doom and gloom score in an international movie with a war setting, no less, I immediately think of last year's winner in the category.
Right. So I think they made it twice in a row.
I already have regrets about score.
Josie also says here, I wouldn't rule out the Zone of Interest for production design either, because World War II set films tend to do well in the category, and the house that is part of the plot is legit built.
Any more regrets about the Zone of Interest? Anybody want to give me real quick?
More regrets about not running Zone of Interest as much as I wanted to.
Top Hat's production design predictions are Barbie, Color Purple, Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. I'm guessing costume design now?
Yes. And here come more regrets I can already see. Because I want to, for some reason, I can't seem to convince myself to get away from this gamble I want to take when there's a clear answer right here I could put in its place.
Okay.
even though I had my wits about me and was like, I should take Saltburn out. They're not that creative. I want to take a gamble on something that didn't make the guild.
Okay.
And I was sacrificing Killers of the Flower Moon to do it.
Interesting.
And it was like, oh, you could say Killers of the Flower Moon's, costumes are pretty generic. And it's like, oh, wait, but then there's a lot of the Osage people. They've got some pretty detailed costumes. So
Certainly.
this is probably a mistake, but whatever. Barbie, obviously. Even though it missed the guild, I wanted to throw the color purple out as a gamble on this.
Okay.
And then Napoleon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. Gonna look at that as well. Let's go.
The part of Owen tonight is played by AJ.
I have Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Poor Things, and Saltburn.
I did think about Napoleon here, but I steered clear completely from it. And I really wanted to go with Saltburn, but I just feel that maybe going basic this year might be a good idea, or maybe I'm completely wrong. Again, this is a time I don't mind being proven wrong. A lot of times this season, I can tell already I'm not going to be proven wrong because we win either way. There's not much I have bad to say about the films I've seen. I've yet to see Maestro, May, December, and Zone of Interest. Those are the only movies with any sort of awards hopes that I have not seen yet, and I've liked everything I've seen so far. So that being said, I'm going with Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Very basic lineup. Very safe lineup.
All right.
To the
We're
10.
in our Big 10, I believe.
Yeah, to the 10.
Oh boy, yeah, we are.
All right. Editing.
Okay, we're going editing next. Okay, right on. Give me a second.
Somebody could really make a statement here.
They could.
What I have
Oh crap.
is Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Weirdly enough, Poor Things is the one I'm not sure about.
Weirdly enough.
Yeah, because I feel like The Holdovers is the one where it's not extremely flashy, but it's here because it's that loved.
Yeah.
I mean, there is the creativity of using the old-fashioned techniques like the wipes and the dissolves.
Sure.
Especially like the detail where there's the one dissolve where it starts to happen mid-dialogue. Like while the sentence is still going, it's already dissolving to the next scene, which is something that used to happen in older movies, like what Payne was trying to convey. So I know we talked about American Fiction being that movie, which I could probably see also. But honestly, I feel weirdly confident about putting The Holdovers here. It's Poor Things is the one I'm actually unsure about for some reason. But could be another one that gets here if not just for the editing itself, but also to show just how much they fucking love Poor Things. So yeah, there you go.
Ashley.
I have Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Just because it seems to be the trend that we put a foreign film in editing now as well.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Also, is we were talking about the Zone of Interest being like the Triangle of Sadness nominations.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the international movie, and it'll get screenplay, director, picture at the very last minute and surprise everybody. we're now sitting here with the Zone of Interest with a fucking PGA nomination, so it's probably gonna do more than just those three. But yeah, Zone of Interest is had a very interesting season.
I like what you're thinking about holdovers, and I very much welcome that. I would love if American Fiction was in this competition. It deserves to be. Editing always gives me an opportunity to either predict picture or it's going to predict something really outrageous, and I would love to be able to like go with something completely off the wall, but you know, I'm never going to win these competitions. Sometimes I got to be safe. And I feel like I'm a little bit more safe this year, which might end up coming back to haunt me. I guess we'll see soon enough. My editing lineup is Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
Right. Cinematography.
Finally, a new movie to talk about.
Well, yeah, the Guild went for the Paulo Lorraine movie.
That is correct.
Interestingly enough, I did. It's basically like there's those four plus the Paulo Lorraine movie, so it's like what's going to be everybody's fifth slot? Is that basically what we're looking at?
Yeah, basically.
Because I do have Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. This is where I went with an international choice.
Oh, I know where you're.
There's multiple choices that make perfect sense.
I know what you're going with.
I'm gonna say Society of the Snow.
Okay. I was wrong. It's okay.
Pretty much the same as AJ's. With Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Except, as you've seen from my previous stuff, you wouldn't be surprised that my international selection is Zone of Interest. Because I always feel it's interesting to get good cinematography in something that's black and white. Obviously, we have that with Oppenheimer as well this year, but always if you can get a good look by having two predominant hues. Okay, there's a lot of grey because you mix black and white together, but yeah, that's why I went with Zone of Interest. I think as a to reflect the blackest of black with stuff that happens in it, and the brightest of bright for the vain bits of hope that are inside that film. I think that's where it might have the edge, but it could they could say that's the Oppenheimer route. No, and no more black and white films. One is allowed, and Oppenheimer's in here by default.
I really, really wish I had seen the Zone of Interest before we did these.
Keep in mind, it doesn't release over here, I think, until like 2 weeks' time. So neither have I. So
I can confirm it's next Friday, not this coming Friday. So yeah, it's the four that everyone else is saying: Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. I did go with a Pablo Larraín movie. I'm gonna go with El Conde.
Oh wow.
Weirdly enough, when I was looking up everything, like, as you know, I kind of like get ideas from other people and things like that, because just to see what everybody's thinking. And then I formulate in my head if I can make it make sense in my head or not, or just like leave it on the cutting room floor like I did with a lot of these things. We'll get to that soon. Needless to say, that's the one that I always see sticking out, not like a sore thumb, but it's the one that I see that's always with that other four. most every place I went, that one was everywhere. So I felt there was something to it, so I went with it.
All right.
And the Big 8 one last time.
We're back to basics.
Yes, we are.
Barbie, you pain in the ass. I almost used a Dan Aykroyd line there, but I didn't want it taken out of context. And shut the fuck up, Office fans. It's a Dan Aykroyd line and it's not a Michael Scott line. Dan Aykroyd is the origin of that line. You ignorant sluts.
Boom!
Okay. So, yeah. All fucking season, I was like, Barbie's adapted, and fuck you if you say otherwise. Last time we did this, I was like, all right, fine. You want to play that? Then fine, I'll play that too. And then I got screenplay all figured out. And they were like, hey, guess what? You're never going to believe this. Barbie's adapted. So something had to come out of my perfect adapted screenplay lineup.
Yes.
And I had it like this. This was my decision, what I'm looking at right now. And I almost changed it by saying, maybe the zone of interest won't make it. Well, you'll notice I have not put the zone of interest in the text really at all, like I probably should. So I'm gonna go ahead but I feel like there's enough to keep it in picture anyway, even if I had taken it out of adapted screenplay, but I'm not gonna make that last minute change. If we were actually asked this months ago, if you look at this perfect adapted screenplay lineup, which one is the most likely to get bumped out? And I think we all said the same thing at the time.
Yes, we did.
Which would have been Killers of the Flower Moon.
Unfortunately, yes.
Only because the zone of interest has to be here. It's the only reason that's going to happen. Because the other four, American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things, you can't really move.
They're a lock, basically, at this point.
I mean, I don't say that. I didn't say that.
I said basically. I said basically. That does not mean I'm admitting it. I'm saying that's what everyone wants you to think. Basically, they're a lock.
Okay, I didn't say lock.
Basically.
I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna have that tattooed to my forehead. I never said lock. So that's how Killers of the Flower Moon ends up out of this, because I'm not gonna move the zone of interest, I guess. Actually, as difficult as that was to take Killers of the Flower Moon out, the reason Barbie's really a pain in the ass is the next category. So
what is Ashley's lineup?
My 5 is American Fiction, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Just double checking from my notes. That does mean that I think All of the Strangers and Zone of Interest might have been in here. I can't remember. I think American Fiction might have been the move in. No, it isn't. That's unadjusted from last time. So yeah, my screenplay for adapted is unchanged from how I predicted it a few weeks back.
So we had the conversation, AJ, about killers in the past with other categories, which I'll have that conversation in a minute. Like AJ said, the zone of interest not being in here felt wrong, but it felt right at the same time. And at the end of the day, I wanted to go with what Ashley went with because that's what I originally had. But then I did some deep thinking and I realized maybe Killers isn't as bulletproof in the top 8 as we it appeared to be at the beginning.
Yeah, it's had a really good guild run,
It has, I agree. That's
which
what
has made
scares me.
which has made me question that. Yeah, but once again, we've seen stuff do really good in the guilds, do terribly, and stuff that did terribly in the guilds do well. But those are rarer cases than the usual, the standard.
So, that being said, I just ended up taking AJ's at the end of the day. American Fiction, Barbie, The Zone of Interest, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
Yeah, because I ended up not being as hard on Kills of Flower Moon as I expected to be. I had it nearly getting wiped out in the Big Eight, but changes were made. So,
What were those 5 again, Owen? The same as mine, or?
The same as AJ's.
Oh, okay.
I had the same as yours, and then I put The Zone of Interest in here.
Okay.
Don't make me regret it, Academy. I want to win one of these competitions before I turn 40. That didn't happen. Before I turned 50. How about it? Let's go.
okay, I'm really nervous about original.
I don't like this lineup. It feels too obvious, and it scares me.
I keep looking at original, and I had a spot to fill in because fucking Barbie moved.
Yep.
I mean, it should have, but still, I'm fucking annoyed because everything lined up perfectly when it was an original, weirdly enough.
Yes, it did.
So I have filled in that spot, but filling in that spot with what I filled it in with makes me feel like I'm forgetting something.
Oh, no.
And that makes me nervous. Like I'm staring at it and staring at it. I'm looking at all the other possibilities, and it's like, I feel like I'm forgetting something. And I'm curious what you have on, because the movie I have in, you said you don't have anywhere. So I'm really curious what your fifth spot is here. Maybe I might know, but I don't think you'd go with that. So I don't know what the hell your fifth spot is.
I think I know.
Let's throw out these right now. Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, Past Lives.
Of course, obvious. Everyone's same 4.
Okay. Unless I'm forgetting something, once I say it, it's over. I can't take it back. So this is my last chance to remember. Unless I'm forgetting something major. Because I'm not going May-December. Because May-December has been like the Plane and Society of the Snow recently. So unless there's something I'm forgetting, or unless we get something completely out of nowhere like The Worst Person in the World, which who the fuck knows what that's going to be. Unless I'm forgetting one, I've got Saltburn.
I approve.
So what the hell else? I really feel, you see where I feel like I'm forgetting something.
No, you're not forgetting anything. What do you got, Ashley?
I have Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May, December, and Past Lives. I was that close as well to kicking out Maestro and putting in Air instead.
Oh my god, I'd love to have done that.
Because
that's what I want.
I feel like, they're giving a lot of credit to a lot of these first-time writers. Certainly with May, December, and Past Lives, and it would be Air as well. Obviously, Alexander Payne has done a fair bit of stuff. And I don't think this is Trier's debut, at least in terms of filmmaking, I think. So, yeah, that's what I'm going with, which is, this is a key point to mention. One of those films in that list when we get to later on.
Air would be amazing and much deserved. getting any nominations for Air. I'd love to see a surprise come out of nowhere. I would be very happy to be proven wrong. In a perfect and just world, the Iron Claw would be in here. And I wish it was. But we don't live in that world. Everything seemed pretty set in stone until everything flipped. And I'd love Saltburn to be in here. And I wanted to put Saltburn in here, and it's the last cut I made. But then I thought about it. Because I've had Saltburn here on the cusp pretty much all season. But I pivoted because of something else I had to do earlier. I talked about the eating the crow. We're about to get there. I put May December in here.
That it?
Yeah.
With what?
With the same lineup that everyone else has: Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, and Past Lives.
Okay.
I think I made a mistake.
Well, regardless of what I just said about May December being the plane inside is now, there's something I'm being a little bullheaded about in supporting actress.
Sure.
So, Cruz got that SAG nomination, which is really funny because I feel like that's exactly what I said would happen.
You did.
Like, just making sure I said that out loud.
You 100% said it out loud.
And I said at the time, if that happens, it would just be a SAG thing. So fucking Jodie Foster will not go away.
I know.
It will be. It's interesting. It would be her first nomination since the 90s. It'd be her first nomination since Nell, which be interesting to see how people think that nomination holds up. But but I was being really bullheaded, and because you could say Julianne Moore missed SAG, but a lot of people miss SAG. A lot of people miss SAG. Tune in next week where we say this exact same thing during our SAG discussion video. We have these exact same conversations about the exact same people. But I just did not. I've not budged on Julianne Moore since we started.
Sure.
So I'm sorry, Jodie Foster, but I'm going to continue to not budge on Julianne Moore. Which leaves me with the lineup that I had before. I hesitate to say it. It's my last time I get to predict it. Please give the best actress in the world her first Oscar nomination, please. With Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer, as well as Danielle Brooks in The Color Purple, Sandra Hüller for The Zone of Interest, Julianne Moore for May December, and the reigning queen, that might as well be the only one that shows up, Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. I wouldn't be sad if Rachel McAdams wanted to bump somebody out. I mean, except for the obvious.
That would be nice.
That would be fun.
I have Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Penelope Cruz for Ferrari, Jodie Foster for Naiad, Julianne Moore for May December, and Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. So the only change there is I pulled out Danielle Brooks to put Cruz in for the first time. Because the fact that... Hang on, I need to double check my notes. Oh wait, Penelope. Okay, so Penelope didn't make BAFTA. I thought she might have done. Either way, that's my 5.
All right. So I was thinking I was gonna have this long speech about being wrong all along and just not admitting what was right in front of my eyes the entire time. Then I thought about it and I realized that not only do I not have to succumb to what everybody else is trying to tell me I need to do, but I can give another nomination to the zone of interest that way. So damn it, I didn't change a damn thing. Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, Sandra Hula for The Zone of Interest, Julianne Moore for May December, and Davine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. Forget you, Jodie Foster. You're not in my list.
By the way, for the record, in general, we love Jodie Foster.
Absolutely.
We love Jodie Foster.
Yes.
It's
but
just
this Naiad
Naiad.
thing, no.
It's
no.
just
no,
it's
it's
just
not a
Naiad.
thing.
It's Naiad.
And that means you too, Benning. We'll talk about you later. Thing is, Rosamund Pike would be great to get in here. I would like that a lot. And I really, really, really toyed with the idea of going with my America Ferrera prediction that I had pretty much all season. But I feel like she got her flowers at the Critics' Choice Awards, and that's as far as it's going to go.
Yeah, that whole
If
thing.
he was going to get in SAG, that would have been a different story. Tis did not happen. So, although it was my first idea to run Jodie Foster, I realized I didn't have to. And I just went with what I had all along.
Okay.
Then
Interestingly enough, I feel like supporting actor actually got really easy recently.
Just because I don't want to get backlogged with chat because we've got a lot to cover.
oh Lord.
Top hat for costume has Barbie, Color Purple, Kills the Flower Moon, Poor Things, and Oppenheimer. They've nominated movies before for just suits before. Cough, cough, Joker.
True, very true.
Oppenheimer did make the Costume Design Guild. I know that costumes in Oppenheimer aren't overly colourful, but with it being such a juggernaut and being period, I wouldn't be surprised if it made it in. If holdovers were to miss for another... Oh, go ahead.
Plus, even though it also is a generic suit for sure, Oppenheimer's suit and hat are kind of iconic now, and I feel like that says something.
Accurate.
And you could say, oh, that's stuff that already existed, but I said the same thing about Jackie's costumes, where it's like, oh, you just have to recreate what already existed, but that didn't stop it. So
No.
that's what made me really go Oppenheimer, kind of just on that alone.
If holdovers were to miss for another comedy beside Poor Things, what do you think it would likely be, Barbie or American Fiction?
American Fiction.
Sadly, yeah.
What are we talking about?
Maybe in editing? I don't know. Oh yeah, because the editors branch does like to nominate comedies.
I vaguely heard what you were saying anyway. I just kind of went with chose one out of the two. So
yeah,
I'll just reveal my hand on that one.
Barbie's got a lot of montages in it too.
Yeah,
so that would help.
Top Hat's list is holdovers because The Flower Moon, Maestro, Poor Things, and Oppenheimer. Josie also mentions I wouldn't rule out Zone of Interest in editing either. Barai says, speaking of Lorraine, can't wait for Maria. So at least we know that Angelina Jolie will get nominated next year. I mean, we said that about Jonathan Majors 12 months ago. And look what happened there.
Ooh.
I will not lie that I will not let that lie because I was like, we were pretty much like, well, he's going to be nominated, and then everything fell apart. So,
hey, I don't make any predictions a year in advance. Let's make that clear.
I will. Diane fucking Warren makes it in for best song next year. You can dig out to the bank. I say that through gritted teeth because give somebody else a chance, damn it, Diane. Then top hat with the Cinnamon Toast Crunchography. Is this WrestleMania? We're going to random, like, what? Because the Flower Moon, Maestro, Poor Things, Oppenheimer, and Zone of Interest. Josie saying Lucas Zhao, cinematographer on Zone of Interest, is one of the best working out there and did get in for Cold War. Owen says, now we're in the Big 8. Can you share the comments I sent earlier? I've waited for you guys to say for later. We'll do it, I think. We'll probably do it next after I finish all the other comments, Josie, because it does relate to the interesting issue of what do we do with a certain film and two certain actors. But we'll get to that. Imagine since Scorsese and Nolan are pretty much guaranteed director slots, if Killers and Oppenheimer both miss screenplay, or if Barbie missed. Do you think it's likelier for All of Us Strangers to be a lone actor or a lone screenplay nod? I'd say screenplay.
I would absolutely appreciate that to happen, but I do not think it will.
I would be more concerned about Oppenheimer and screenplay missing if it wasn't so dialogue heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if something's more action driven, I feel like it's more susceptible to getting snubbed. But dialogue is something that'll get a lot of attention paid to its writing.
Top hat for adapted has American Fiction, Barbie, because of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Josie has Anatomy of a Fall, Asteroid City, Fallen Leaves, Holdovers, and Past Lives, with the alt being The Boy and the Heron in there instead. Then for original, top hat has Anatomy of a Fall, Holdovers, Maestro, May, December, and Past Lives. Owen, I'd too love to see it Air or Iron Claw make it in for original screenplay.
That'd be great. I'd really enjoy that at this point. Don't forget about Blackberry. I know it's not the same category, but I'd love to see that happen too.
The only thing that would annoy me about Air getting nominated in screenplay is it doesn't credit Affleck and Damon.
No.
And they almost completely reshape that script.
Yes.
Josie noting if Claire Foy gets in at BAFTA, could she do a Jessie Buckley and get in from out of nowhere?
You know she deserves it. Honestly, I would love to see her get in this. She's really great in it too.
And also adding, I wonder if Lily Gladstone's push could help Cara Jade Myers possibly get in by surprise as well.
I tried that, but I don't. You never know, honestly, at this point.
I mean, the fact she made it in the 10 for BAFTA means that there's some sort of chance, I would say.
Or someone's watching these videos, so.
Top hat supporting actress predictions: Blunt, Brooks, Ferreira, Randolph, and Moore. Ferreira's been getting a lot of exposure. Exposure. Take a shot, especially after Critics' Choice. Bryce says, so basically if Ferreira does get in, it basically means if you get the See Her award at the Critics' Choice, you're not getting an Oscar.
So don't make me live to regret taking America Ferrera out of my lineup when I had her pretty much all season.
And also, Top Hat says Barbie's costumes also technically already existed, like Oppenheimer's. To some extent.
Right.
All right, to scroll back to the... Go ahead, AJ.
I stand by that Critics' Choice was an awful lot of manufactured momentum for Barbie, but I don't know.
Hey, I will give them credit for giving Cord Jefferson an award.
Not on screen.
No, I shot on that last night. Don't worry.
Josie's got a Poor Things playlist. Bring Me to Life by Evanescence. Tripping Billies by the Dave Matthews Band for the dance. Songs that describe Rami's longing: Sly by the Goo Goo Dolls, Black Balloon also by the Goo Goo Dolls, Mr. Brightside by the Killers, and Everything You Want by Vertical Horizon. Also add in Back Here by BB Mac, She Likes Me for Me by the Blessed Union of Souls, Be Like That by Three Doors Down, and Better Man by Pearl Jam. Other songs for the playlist: Matchbox 20's Real World, Alanis Morissette's You Learn, and just probably for Owen, Champagne Supernova by Oasis.
Heck yeah.
I like to
love that
imagine Rami's character talking to Jared Carmichael's character for advice since they're buddies in real life. Her and Duncan are going to bed. My stomach's sick and it's all on my hair, but she's touching Duncan's chest now. He takes off her dress now.
I appreciate it.
So yeah, speaking
Supporting
of poor things, what are we doing?
Well, actually, I have to start off with asking a question to some of our prophets in the chat. I can't remember if it was just one person or a couple of people. Parsnip might have been one of them. Said that they were not predicting Melton, and they said this before the BAFTA long list came out. Now, that he didn't even make the long list for BAFTA on top of the SAG snub looks really, really bad.
Looks.
But when somebody mentioned in the chat that they weren't predicting Melton, it was before that. I want to know what made them think that at the time, because that's pretty good. that's pretty good predicting there. Because you know what? It was enough to get me to do the same thing. And like I said, weirdly enough, that did not make supporting actor hard. Because I took somebody out, and I just put them right back in. So, first of all, thank you, SAG, for having my back on Willem Dafoe. Keeping that. Put De Niro back. Downey, Gosling, Ruffalo. And I feel pretty good about that. Like Downey mentioned at Critics' Choice, Sterling K. Brown is here. But when I look at Dafoe, De Niro, Downey, Gosling, and Ruffalo, I feel pretty good. So, because, like I said, I took De Niro out initially because I thought he didn't have enough hype and passion behind him. He was just kind of showing up, but he's still showing up. So, and I know there's usually that person that shows up everywhere and still misses. But we've also got somebody who kind of had a weird miss with Ruffalo missing SAG. So yeah, just putting him back makes me feel like this is a pretty complete lineup to me. So that's what I'm going with.
So I ultimately made 2 changes. I also do not have Melton in, and I do not have Ruffalo in. Because along with Defoe, De Niro, Downey, and Gosling, I bit the bullet, and there's something in the water. Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction.
Okay.
Okay. This takes some explanation. Before SAG, I had made up my mind. And then SAG came out, and I really questioned myself. Like, big time. AJ's 5 really seems completely accurate. Then Friday came around, And I was already ready to take Charles Melton out. Because I was like, okay, I had him in for the last one. He's not going to make the final list. And that was before I put May December in screenplay. So it makes sense that I kept Melton. I did not. Putting someone into this list that I've taken out before, and someone that, due to no fault of his own, was in one of my least favorite roles in the history of ever, and one of my least favorite movies in the history of ever, that I do not want to think about ever again. But God is good. Literally. Welcome back to my lineup, Willem Dafoe.
How funny is it that his name is God in Poor Things, and that's kind of a euphemism for what he does. And the movie you're talking about that you hate is Antichrist.
I know. That's the best part.
Sorry I was away, Owen. Do you want to run through just the list so I can put them in the spreadsheet?
I didn't already. I just was talking about putting Willem Dafoe in my lineup. So yeah, as trademark Ashley, I went with the double for Poor Things, Willem Dafoe, and one of my favorite supporting actor performances of the year in quite a long time, Mark Ruffalo. Joining Ryan Gosling, joining Robert Downey Jr. I did it, AJ. I decided to go against type, and the conversation we had that I wasn't going to budge on, ended up doing it anyway. I have taken out King Hale. And in his place, you'll get this, AJ, I have taken a lover. Welcome Sterling K. Brown to my lineup.
Also, I just want to shout out Willem Dafoe and Charles Melton for their amazing Criterion Closet videos that they both just put out.
Nice.
Having been sick this week and not doing anything at all, I've probably watched Willem Dafoe's like 10 times. He's so joyful. I love it. All right. Actress.
Oh boy.
I'm pissed off about this, guys. I wasn't gonna budge. I wasn't gonna budge at all. I was gonna sit here and tell you, no, I'm not fucking doing it. Just like I did for supporting actress. I was gonna say, no, you cannot make me move the lineup that I had.
Yep.
Which included Sandra Hüller going twice.
Yep.
Which would be wild and amazing. Something I would be totally behind, and I feel like the world needs Sandra Hüller being a double Oscar nominee in one instance.
I'm completely fine with this.
But like I said, I was talking about how I felt like Critics' Choice was really building up manufactured momentum on Barbie. I said that when Critics' Choice sent out their nominations.
Sure.
It's like, that's a little much for Barbie. Even fans of Barbie could tell you that's a lot. But it was like, and I'm not gonna buy it because momentum shifts don't happen at Critics' Choice. They happen at SAG, like with Parasite and Coda, and they happen at BAFTA, or they happen at like PGA. That's when momentum shifts happen. Fucking Critics' Choice does not have the power to do shit. It's Critics' Choice. They can beat you over the head an entire night and tell you a movie is going to be this absolute unstoppable juggernaut in almost every category imaginable. Obviously, I bring this up when we're talking about the actress category.
Yes.
I don't think I've predicted Robbie at all since we started.
I don't believe you have.
And weirdly enough, there's been quite a few people where Robbie has just not been on the radar for actress all season because it's just too crowded, regardless of how much hype Barbie has had in all of its other categories.
Also correct.
Even it took Gerwig a while to finally seem pretty secure in director, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
And people can remember it any way they want to, but we've been documenting it as we go.
Yeah, of course.
Robbie has not been in here for a lot of the season, for a lot of people.
True.
So the question is has there been some kind of shift in momentum that Barbie is starting to fill in what few slots it didn't seem like it was strongly?
Mm.
Like it was hanging on in these slots, but it wasn't like here the way other things have been here, like an Oppenheimer or Killers of Flower Moon or whatever. Poor Things. Those three have been secure in a lot of these places.
Sure.
So the big question was I going to take out Sandra Hüller and put Margot Robbie in her place? And the only thing that's really pushing me in that direction has nothing to do with the fucking floor show that Critics' Choice put on. It was Robbie making SAG, when a lot of people miss SAG.
Right.
Now, you could say Sandra Hüller missed SAG because a lot of people miss SAG, and it means nothing, which is what we usually say about BAFTA, but SAG was really interesting this year. So that's why my lineup is Lily Gladstone, Greta Lee, Mulligan, Robbie, Emma Stone. It's a very roundabout way of saying that, but I just want to say that I want to just absolutely make sure it's known that Critics' Choice is not swaying me jack shit on anything.
Sure.
It was I guess it would have been the combination of Robbie and its SAG Ensemble nomination, when a lot of other things could have gotten that SAG Ensemble nomination. Because, yeah, Barbie has a gargantuan ensemble, but not many of them are major roles at all. So, whereas you can have supporting roles that are also major roles, a lot of Barbie's roles feel like bit parts for a lot of people. With the main ones being Robbie and Gosling and Ferrara and the daughter, Will Ferrell distantly behind them. Everybody else, even like Simulio and Issa Rae, feel more like bit parts than actual parts. Even though they're there throughout, it's, yeah. So the SAG Ensemble nomination makes me feel like there is quite a bit of strength for Barbie. So I'm talking a lot. I'm going to end it here.
I'm guessing I missed the actual list of the five while I was away.
Gladstone, Greta Lee, Mulligan, Robbie, Emma Stone.
Pretty similar in Gladstone, Mulligan, Robbie, and Stone, but I'm sticking to my guns and putting Sandra Hüller in here for Anatomy of a Fall. So yeah, unchanged from last month and the past few months, but yeah, I wouldn't object to see Past Lives making it in here as well. So be interesting to see.
I know we're out of the category, but I let this be known. Ashley was the one who did it, and I thought about doing it, but I didn't. We're going back to Ashley bumping Danielle Brooks out of the lineup for Penelope Cruz. which is a bold move to say the least. I know we're not in that category, but I just wanted to let it be known that there's a thought process I have in my head that Color Purple would come up like goose egg for the Oscars completely. I didn't go with it, but it's a thought that I've had for a while now. Another thing I've had for a while now is throughout the years and throughout this season, I always like to do this. Basically suggesting if you want to go with Cooler and you want to go with Robbie, you don't have to choose between the two. Just pick both. My lineup doesn't change at all. Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Bullock for Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, Margot Robbie for Barbie, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. Would I be opposed to Greta Lee getting in this list? Oh, God, no, not at all.
Yeah, a SAG ignoring past lives fucking hurts.
Certainly.
But I'm not trying to get too married to the idea that that's indicative of anything major.
I can also say now, because of the comment AJ made just a little bit ago, that I have a friend that is literally in the SAG ensemble lineup, technically speaking, because she was in the movie. So that is super cool.
It seemed like they were weirdly stingy on who qualifies as the ensemble. I noticed that.
Yeah, of course.
For like all the movies. Of course, all the movies also have like insane cast lists, but
True. Speaking of
right.
Best Director.
Nope. The dudes.
Oh, whoops.
This one's. I feel like I should be panicking, but I'm not. The reason I feel like I should be panicking is it's not usually an exact lineup. But sometimes it is. Every now and then it is. I think of 2021 when for some fucking reason Bardem was just here for being the Ricardos for I don't know why. And it's like, oh, they just went with the lineup they've been going with. That's lazy. Whatever.
Right.
So the SAG lineup for actor comes out, and it's like, hey, that's what I've been predicting for like a while. And I honestly don't feel like there's any even though I feel like, oh, maybe one of these should be different from the SAG lineup to shake it up. I'm going to go ahead and stick with it anyway and say that it's just the SAG lineup. Cooper, Coleman Domingo, Giamatti, Cillian Murphy, and Jeffrey Wright. Simple as that. Unless Andrew Scott wants to come in from out of nowhere or somebody else.
That'd be awesome. Ashley, do you concur?
Short answer, yes. Slightly longer short answer. I felt risky about doing that prediction, December 31st. And then SAG literally did my prediction. So it was like, okay. Yeah, it's a complicated character that it's like I don't feel there's anything that somebody else couldn't have done the job that DiCaprio did. There's nothing I feel that he went above and beyond as much as he has as in previous roles. And possibly upcoming, depending what happens with the PTA film. So yeah, that's probably my reasoning for why I haven't put him in the list. Just because, to me, Giamatti and Murphy now seem like the only sort of locks. Really. Bradley Cooper's getting in because he's Bradley Cooper. He's the new Meryl Streep and Jennifer Lawrence. Isn't that weird, considering the link with that? And then, yeah, it'll be just good to see Domingo and Wright get for their first recognition after however many years in the business.
Okay. here's where I get to eat my crow. So all season, I have been saying DiCaprio was going to get in. And I kept trying to negate this Coleman Domingo push. Not because I had anything against it. It's just I don't like when everything's not perfectly in line. That's just how I am. It's kind of a thing. So Domingo is a problem more than anything else. Then AJ told me about Rustin and gave me a little bit of background given what the actual movie is about, and the portrayal is actually worth it. It's not just a token nomination. It's literally just something that is deserved. I do not know if I will see Rustin because it's nowhere to be found and it was never around here to be safe. But I ended up switching at the last minute, and I concur with the panel. Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction.
It definitely feels too clean, doesn't it?
Most of these do, and that scares me.
Keep in mind how, some would say that some of the stuff is the most predictable. This is the 21st category that we've covered here. And this is the only time we've done exactly the same 5.
Nice. I'm a little nervous about this next one. I think that's the reason why I skipped actor, because I didn't want to eat the crow and I completely forgot about it. This one takes some explanation.
Best director. All right, internet, are you fucking happy? You're gonna kill this man.
Which one? Oh, you.
Once again, the thing that I was actually gonna say, you know what? I think I actually might stick with him anyway. But I feel like he's a particular case where if he was gonna happen, and if he was really secure, DGA would have gone with him.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't.
Nope.
So the internet is gonna get its wish, and Bradley Cooper is gonna get humbled all over again.
Sadly, yes.
Because the thing I told you, Owen, I don't think we said this live, I don't think, where somebody had said he's not going to get in because he didn't get in for A Star Is Born or something. Or no, it was because of the, they don't typically go for actors, for director and actor, it's pretty rare, etc.
Sure.
My response to you after that was, there goes my voice, that the Discord went off and I almost lost my voice. I lost what I was saying. It was about Cooper. It was, the not going for a director and actor at the same time.
Sure.
That he had basically already been through his hazing period by missing for A Star Is Born. So that was over now. So it'd make more sense if they went for him for Maestro now.
Right.
But we've been talking about how packed this category is. When I put him in last time, I had to take out scores. I had to predict that we were going to lose Scorsese. And you know what? It's Kills Fireman's having a really good guild run, and they really, 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 really have to love Cooper. Everybody would have to love Cooper. It does seem like it's mostly the actors that are really taking for Maestro, except for the fact that Maestro missed SAG Ensemble, which I guess it isn't much of an ensemble, but if the actors were taking to it as much as it seemed like it was building up that they were, I feel like they would have found a way.
True.
For Maestro to have overperformed by now, and it's not.
Nope.
So unless it's really last minute, which wouldn't be the first time for Cooper because American Sniper, I'm going to go ahead and say that Cooper does not make director. I know a lot of people were already betting on that, but I was really thinking that the industry was going to really, really try to make Maestro happen, and if they are, it's going to be a really, really last-minute push if that happens, which has happened. But when it comes to having to sacrifice Scorsese, if anybody, I don't think I'm going to do that. So I have Greta Gerwig, Jonathan Glazer, Yorgos Lanthimos, Nolan Scorsese. Yes, I've also sacrificed Payne for Glazer, but I feel like that's practically a given lately.
It
So,
shouldn't, but it is.
like anything the Zone of like, there's not going to be a surprise factor to some international movie coming in because the Zone of Interest has made its fucking point. So it's just a matter of watching what it bumps out along the way.
Ashley.
I have Gerwig, Lanthimos, Nolan, Payne, and Scorsese. Right at the last minute, I finally decided, no, we're not having two women.
It's a tough one. I wanted to put Payne in here. He belongs here, but DGA didn't have my back. So I just went with the hard part, which was bumping out Bradley Cooper. But what would I put in his place? And it's been staring me all year, and I keep discounting it, and it feels like it's come to play. So joining Greta for Barbie, Lanthimos for Poor Things, Nolan for Oppenheimer, and Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon. I know it took a long time, but I got it in at the last possible second. Welcome, Jonathan Glazer, for the low Zone of Interest. Now, I'll take a shot for the Zone of Interest. I think I was so upset with myself messing that up. That's the reason why my voice like flipped like that. So yeah.
What are the other three?
Glazer, Gerwig, Lanthimos, Nolan, Scorsese.
Right. So AJ, yeah, what AJ said.
Now, I think that there are other contenders, but I feel that they have gotten very comfortable with the lineup and then that fifth slot. And if the Zone of Interest is really in this, like a lot of people seem to think it is at this point, and it seems more and more of a certainty at this rate that it is. Glazer's getting that fifth slot.
To the chat before we get to the main event. Josie asked us what we thought about her playlist. I'd say it was probably fair. Stuff that certainly fits the mood. Josie also adds Mark Ruffalo's character probably would be in a fantasy football league and invest in crypto.
That's accurate.
And what music would he listen to? Would he listen to the Dave Matthews Band? No, he'd be that snobby. He'd be into sort of like Yes or King Crimson.
He's listening
like
to
the
Rufus
ultimate prog, the most prog rock. Prog wants to get out the room because it's that prog.
I'm glad you guys can answer these because I don't know that I'd want to be inside Duncan Wedderburn's head. So.
I definitely want to be inside for sure.
That's why he ends up where he ends up. So.
Top Hat said Defoe, De Niro, Downey, Gosling, and Ruffalo. Oh, Josie also says Duncan will probably have a timeshare as well.
Yeah, that's likely.
Sterling K. Brown, in terms of industry awards, might just be a SAG thing because that body has a lot of TV people and because of his This Is of Us combo. I'm not saying he can't get in, I'm just pointing it out.
He belongs in this.
Josie also loving Melton and Defoe's Criterion closet vids. Top Hat said for lead actress, Gladstone, Huller, Lee, Mulligan, Stone. Bry saying a shocking prediction of snubbing Huller, AJ, and I'm guessing you want to slap Critics' Choice in the face.
Yeah. Okay.
Generally, he does every year, so I don't know. It's not a surprise. Josie says Gladstone, Huller, Lee, Stone, and then the last slot I give up. It probably won't happen, but you know, Alma Posty for Fallen Leaves. Josie is willing it through. As much as people may not want to admit it, but then Annette Bening still got in where she needed to, so I wouldn't be surprised if she's possibly squeezed in. Bryce says Past Lives is women talking. We'll get to that. Josie says, I understand the woman talking comparisons to past lives, but I feel that's too easily coincidental. We'll get to that. Top Hat says Cooper, DiCaprio, Giamatti, Murphy, and Wright. Josie goes with Cooper, Giamatti, Murphy, Andrew Scott, and Jeffrey Wright.
He deserves it.
Adding that the SAG nod probably helps Wright. And there were people who predicted DiCaprio to be snubbed for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood a few years back, but made it in. Then again, he still made SAG that year, whereas this year Leo didn't. Interestingly, the year that Wolf of Wall Street missed SAG, I think, and still got nominated at the Oscar.
Wolf of Wall Street also came in early. It came out at Christmas, so stuff that came out at Christmas used to usually miss SAG, regardless.
Top Hat. What if they nominate the wrong Leo and the Netflix lizard gets it?
God dang it. So, Ashley, I have no access to the Discord, obviously, but there's a reason why it keeps beeping. Parsnip Burger, who is still suffering from the Steve Carino right now, get well soon, sir, is leaving their comments about their predictions on the Discord.
Okay. I'm going to have to go to
So
my
that's
second...
what you got notifications from.
I haven't been getting them because obviously because I'm streaming, it turns off the ability for me to have the beeps. Otherwise, they'll just be there all the time. So, I'll get to that in it.
I really would read it.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a minute when. Let me just quickly. I need to press that. Josie says I have Glazer, Lanthimos, Nolan, Scorsese, and Trier. Top Hat has Gerwig, Glazer, Lanthimos, Nolan, and Scorsese. If Glazer misses BAFTA, Trier gets in, then we know what will happen.
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Do we?
No, we don't. We don't know anything anymore.
That's it. Remember, I said that I felt like Trier was Edward Berger. So, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck anything is anymore.
Yep.
I know what my picture lineup is.
Yeah, same.
I'm guessing Parsnip is still putting predictions in because he hasn't gone through all 23 yet. So feel free to finish that off if you want, Parsnip, and we'll do that at the end, sort of as a, I guess, sort of a wrap up for the whole 2 and a bit hours that we've been going so far. So yeah, AJ, the 10.
Well, similar dilemma to lead actor at SAG. It's like usually, not even usually, I feel like always, there's at least 1 or 2 differences from the PGA lineup. In an interesting turn of events, the PGA lineup is the lineup that I had last time. Maybe even the time before, but definitely last time.
Mm-hmm.
And even though the PGA lineup always changes at least 1 or 2 slots, I don't see any reason to change this. So I am going to stick, and we're going to have a freak occurrence where it's just the PGA lineup. American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Kills of a Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Like I said, Zone of Interest was supposed to be a surprise to a lot of people on nominations morning. But it's just laying itself out here. It's like, nah, I'm not waiting. We're not doing that whole thing. I'm here. Like, let's just get me fucking nominated. So that's I don't know what else would happen. I mean, like we say, it seems too perfect when it's this perfect.
Yeah. Scares me.
But I mean, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I made one change of moving out the color purple, and the TLDR is It's exactly what AJ said. Only when AJ said it did I realise, oh wait, it also is the PGA lineup. I didn't pay attention to that. I was like, oh, it actually is.
I was actually kind of disappointed because I was like, here's the PGA lineup. What's going to be the big surprise? Whoa, nothing.
Although, unless you're the zone of interest, don't release a film that goes beyond the letter P.
Color Purple, Iron Claw, Air, Saltburn. These are all ideas I had throughout the season. I think May December is even in there too.
No.
Yeah, it is.
Oh no, if we curse this.
But you know what? There's really no reason for me to say anything further because I concur with the panel and I concur.
Wow.
There's nothing else that makes
went
sense.
with the same 10.
We all have the same 10. That doesn't happen. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of our series.
Normally we match on like text, not on lead actor and best picture of all things.
It's too clean cut. That's what makes me think there's going to be some serious surprises Tuesday. Or maybe it's just that obvious.
Yeah, sometimes it's like we were saying about like when whoever acknowledged that they nominated fucking Suits for a Joker.
Yeah.
It's like I say this all the time. In 2019, in the text, they were so lazy. It was the same movies throughout all the tech categories, pretty much. And sometimes it is just really simple and lazy and uncreative. I mean, not that this would be a fantastic lineup, regardless.
I have no knowledge of the zone of interest, but it's coming. I can guarantee you I'll be watching it not this Friday, but next. Maestro is still hanging above my head like the sword of Damocles right now. But I have a feeling I'm getting it soon, especially when the Oscar nominations come out Tuesday. Makes me think they're going to rush it to theaters. I've seen everything else that's nominated, and I either like or love everything that's listed. There is it's not 2023. There's no chance.
It's just crazy you keep saying Tuesday, because it's like,
yeah,
every time we do the reaction to the nominees video, it's like, oh, I'm glad I don't have to do that for another year. I feel like that just happened.
Well, if I could have skipped over 2023, save about 5 things, I would have. So I understand how you feel.
To me, it's sort of the opposite. It feels like it was longer than that.
Well, you're doing regular content right now. You're the only one of us that's actually doing regular videos at this moment.
Yeah, we were supposed to start getting reviews for the newer movies, and then all this bullshit.
I made the comment the other night telling everyone that very soon we'll start getting 2024 reviews from you in the very near future. We just don't have a time frame yet.
I mean, hopefully in this coming week.
That'd be nice.
I'm really hoping it's not Past Lives that's vulnerable. Please don't do that, guys. Do it for fucking Maestro.
Yeah.
Do you guys love Maestro that much? I mean, I looked at SAG and I saw Cooper and Mulligan. Like I said, I mean, yeah, it's not a huge ensemble, but I mean, if you guys really, really loved it, wouldn't you have backed it that much? And wouldn't Cooper be in DGA? And
yeah,
no, maybe you don't love Maestro that much. Maybe we can, I mean, Maestro's not terrible. I don't think so, but there's other things. I mean, I also, at the same time, I don't want the internet to win.
Yeah.
So
at the same time,
so there's part of me that is rooting for Maestro just for people to be all pissy on the internet would be hilarious.
Of course.
It does. It's not a fair comparison, but it does feel this year that Maestro is last year's to Leslie / Andrea Riseborough. It's the one that keeps getting talked about and talked about and talked about. But the question is, after everything that happened last year, how much hold is it going to have beyond? I don't know. I think we maybe have it in for sort of, for a piece, maybe 6 nominations. Whereas if you look at sort of like Barbie and Oppenheimer, and probably for me Zone of Interest, and probably for all of us maybe Poor Things. We have at least, I'd say, judging from my math quickly looking at it, I think those 3 of Barbie, Poor Things, and Oppenheimer are the ones that have double digits in our list.
Killers is up there too. I don't know if it has double, but it's close. It's real close.
True. Quickly to the comments. Be hilarious if Nolan was Ben Affleck or Villeneuve.
Oh boy,
that would not be hilarious. That.
As I say, and obviously AJ wasn't here for this yesterday, part of me is feeling this year Nolan is getting the Departed route, a la Scorsese. And they're sort of finally giving him his flowers for his body of work before this, as well as Oppenheimer.
It's actually very funny that you say that, because Oppenheimer is my favorite Nolan movie, and The Departed is my favorite Scorsese movie. So
very true.
If that's how you want to put it, then I'm perfectly okay with it.
Likewise.
Josie mentions it a couple of times, well, in different ways, but and we sort of already talked about it there, like which of the PGA 10 do we think is the shakiest or could miss on a sliding scale? My fear is it probably will be something like Past Lives, but Maestro's probably in with a shout of missing. Maybe Zone of Interest. It depends how they feel as like passionately about Anatomy of a Fall and or Zone of Interest, because it could be a case that only one foreign film makes it in, even though technically with the list that we have there's actually 3.
Killers looked real vulnerable until the guilds came in. Now it does not at all.
Killers is doing everything it needs to in the guilds right now.
Absolutely, and it's back into like legitimate contention for picture at this point. It's definitely in the top 5 for sure.
I mean, you could say DiCaprio's not happening, but if you're someone like me, DiCaprio was never happening, and that's irrelevant.
Right.
Bry mentioning that would be the first time that PGA and Oscars would match on at least, the list of 10 as they have done them recently. Josie mentioning some Poor Things fan art that she made was tagged by the Alistair Gray archive.
That's cool.
And they even wrote a comment saying cute. One thing to note for this year, although it's year 11 for the award show coverage, this is the 10th year we'll be doing actual reactions to the nominations. As we only started that off in 2015.
Yeah, because what is life anyway? I mean, it's just something that floats away. It will never come back again.
What is life is a track off All Things Must Pass from George Harrison.
Life. Constant wait until the next Water Parks concert.
It's also Eddie Murphy's most underrated performance. Life's a lot of things.
So, I'm bringing it up here because I'll forget. Why the fuck did Candy Cane Lane get so much at like the set guilds?
That's hilarious. I've seen Candy Cane Lane and I don't fucking know. The actors looking like porcelain dolls is interesting, but I'm pretty sure that's all CGI. So I don't know what the hell the makeup guild was nominating, but I don't know.
Cocaine is a hell of a cocaine. Top hats list is American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest.
Too clean cut. It's like everybody's saying the same lineup for 10.
The BAFTA long list for picture was 9 out of 10 compared to what PGA did.
I'm just. If I just have to make one declarative statement about this whole thing, it's that if you really do feel the need to shake up the PGA lineup and not make it exactly the PGA lineup, you fucking leave Past Lives alone and go after something else.
Well, this is where Josie's comment comes in. If Maestro did miss, what do you think would make it in? Depending how they feel, I think Color Purple's got a chance.
Yeah, just something
Possibly.
easy like that. I don't think it'd be something crazy.
Maybe Saltburn? It would be weird if we had something that... If Saltburn makes it in for screenplay, we have 2 pictures that make it in Best Picture and Best Screenplay, and that's the only nominations that they have. Because that many other nominations got taken by the other 3 or 4, that it's just they need to fill in the rest.
I know a lot of people throughout the season are throwing out Spider-Verse in picture, but I've just never been able to picture that happening.
No. But I've seen it a lot more than I'd like to have seen.
Well, people have also been really pushing for when we're going to have another animated movie nominated, and I don't know.
Nothing on the horizon I can see.
It's going to have to be something like really undeniable. Like I feel like the closest we've gotten was maybe, and it was never even discussed, so you can't even say it was close. But Coco maybe,
Possibly,
is the closest I can think of recently, where something had enough hype that it would have been believable if it happened.
And a slight unofficial addition to the prediction game. Bry asks, Josie asks, what do we think that will make the BAFTA 5 when they announce that on Thursday? Bearing in mind the only switch there from what we predicted and the PGA announced is All of Us Strangers taking American Fiction's place. I mean, the obvious ones are the ones that stand out because probably Oppenheimer, even though it isn't British, is probably going to be in there. Poor Things, which is British. Probably Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, and maybe Zone of Interest. It's that weird thing that, like, it's a British film, but I'm guessing that means I just need to double check. Zone of Interest, I guess, can't be in foreign feature. Oh, it's it. So a British film, at least according to the rest of the world, is in for international feature. Okay.
Do they call it? Do they call it international? I think they used to call it film not in the English language, which would still make sense. But do they call it international now?
I'm trying to remember. I'm double checking. They still haven't bothered to update the Rising Star things, even though they announced that last week. Damn it. 2022, because there isn't a 2023 page yet. Oh no, it is Best Film not in the English language. They change the name of it every other time. I'm going to change it now in the description here, and it's going to be completely different. Wait, does that mean... Hang on. Now checking. Yeah, Anatomy of a Fall made it in feature, despite the fact that most of it is English. That's confusing. Bryce says I'll count them up and post it on the Discord server on how many nominations we got on predictions, as well as hopefully list how many that we how many predicted for each film, whether they were successful or not. I don't know. From the snub of the Lego Movie to Bennett Miller and Tom Hardy that made AJ get out of his chair, to Owen upset with James Franco missing, to Doom missing director, to the love of the film we can't mention overperforming. Here's the 10 years of reactions.
Yeah.
I mean, you say maybe All of Us Strangers, Josie, because of the BAFTA mentions, but the fact that you've got Zone of Interest and Poor Things also considered, British film, making it in there as well. I'd say they're the more likely to be the British ones that carry over, I would have thought, than All of Us Strangers. Don't get me wrong, you've got a lot of recognition at the Independent Awards, but that's because it's independent.
You would think these emotions would just come and go with the years, but the Bennett Miller and Tom Hardy nominations still make me happy when I think about them.
Bryce says, what animated film is gonna try Inside Out 2 or Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim?
I would say Inside Out 2 looks fine.
I mean, it'd be a return to form, considering how we predicted that Disney was not going to do well in animated this year. And Baka Rakura's got Takeout. I know who you are, Baka Rakura. I will get over there once I'm done. You get busy at gorilla position. 'Cause that's all I'm saying.
As far as Inside Out 2, what's the over-under on Bing Bong still being dead? Because still, I don't... Maybe we shouldn't open up the Inside Out wound when we're about to finish.
Accurate.
Good.
And Bako, you're correct to put the oops emoji.
And the wound isn't, oh, I'm so pained about the fact that Bing Bong is dead. No, I don't fucking get the emotional. We all had invisible friends, sure. Imaginary friends, sure, but I don't. Not even Richard Kind can make me feel anything for that piece of shit.
There are 2 movies about an imaginary friends that are coming out next year. One of which you need to care about.
One of which I do care about. I saw her adorable little character in that little tease they did of the character introductions.
Yes.
So that's nice. What's the other one?
It's a horror movie.
Of course it is.
And I've seen that trailer way too much lately. That might be the end. Do we have one more? Do we have all the predictions from Parsnip Burger at home?
It was the end like 20 minutes ago. I don't know what we're doing.
Parsnips are in. Parsnips documentary short predictions. ABCs of book banning. Barber of Little Rock, Between Earth and Sky deciding vote and Last Repair Shop. For live action short, The After, The Anne Frank Gift Shop, The Shepherd, Strange Way of Life and the Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar.
I bumped out Shepherd at the last minute, Parsnip.
For animated short, 27, Eva, Letter to a Pig, Once Upon a Studio, and Pete. For international feature, Fallen Leaves, The Mother of All Lies, Society of the Snow, The Teacher's Lounge, and The Zone of Interest. For documentary, 20 Days in Mariupol, American Symphony, Apollonia, Beyond Utopia, and Four Daughters. Original song, It Never Went Away. Dance the Night Away and What Was I Made For?
You're really going with Dua Lipa? That takes some guts, my friend.
Road to
I would
Freedom.
not mind it.
Road to Freedom, and what's just listed here, Flaming Hot. Not the actual song. It's just Diane motherfucking Warren. For score, American Fiction, Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Spider-Verse. VFX, Godzilla, Napoleon, Poor Things, Society of Snow, and Spider-Verse. For sound, Barbie Ferrari. I'm merging the two.
Please don't put that evil in me, Ricky Bobby.
Maestro, Napoleon, and Oppenheimer. For makeup and hair, oh, I forgot about that one. Golda, The Last Voyage of the Dementor. Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
I saw it a couple times listed. I only watched the movie once. That was enough.
For editing, Barbie, Holdovers, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. For costume, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. For cinematography, El Conde, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. I'm saying those two together a lot. For production design, Barbie, Killers, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. For animated, Boy and the Heron, Chicken Run, Dawn of a Nugget, Elemental. Oh, we're going on both fences. Robot Dreams and Spider-Verse. Then for adapted, Barbie, American Fiction, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. For original, Air, Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, May, December, and Past Lives.
Yeah, Run Air.
For supporting, Downey, Sterling K. Brown, Gosling, De Niro, and Defoe. For actress, Randolph, Ferreira, Foster, Blunt, and Cruz. For actor, Murphy and Giamatti, along with Cooper, Wright, and Domingo. For actress, Stone, Gladstone, Mulligan, Lee, and Robbie. For director, we have Gerwig, Glazer, Nolan, Payne, and Scorsese. And best picture, if I can try and do this off the top of my head in an alphabetical order. American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest.
And get well soon, Parsnip Burger. Hopefully, when we come back here on Sunday for BAFTA, you can join us and be in a lot better headspace and body space.
So with that, we better wrap it up because I realise that I've only got so many hours to record the Isaac curated run. I forgot that it was today as well. So that's going to be tomorrow's video that will mysteriously go up before tomorrow. So at least those of you that are up till 5 in the morning Eastern time can still do it and use it as a guide.
Content for the 17th. Let's go.
Thank you for the constant high viewership as well. We haven't really dropped below 4 very much for most of the show. So thank you for that.
Much appreciated.
We'll be back, hopefully, at the weekend.
Yep.
So, yeah, Sunday will be our BAFTAs talk, where we will talk probably in more detail about the long list stuff, as well as how the long list got adapted to the short list and whether we think anything got snubbed. That's always the advantage of getting the long list for that now, so we can literally go, what the hell? Which we don't as much with the Oscars. Then Monday, we'll be discussing the guilds that we can, i.e. SAG, PGA, and DGA, because WGA want to be different. And then, of course, Tuesday will be the marathon, if you want to call it that, with my live stream reactions, Owen and AJ's live reactions to tape, and will be up for you to peruse. And then, probably as usual at 6 Eastern, the 3 of us will actually get together and properly discuss it. And we'll reveal who wins the first of the 2 prediction games, as in who got the most right. The problem is we said so many of the same things across to all of us, it's probably going to be a tie, and I don't know how to do a tiebreaker. Simple answer is we don't. It might actually just come down to sort of the shorts and everything, because with that similar on a lot of the shorts, it's gonna be complicated.
Those few texts where I didn't say the Zone of Interest are probably gonna fuck me.
Oh, we'll see.
Same.
So in terms of other stuff on the channel, yeah, you've got at least Isaac stuff from me for tomorrow's video for Wednesday. For the other 3 days, it could be gaming, it could be Snack Stash. You have to wait and see. We might also have a, AJ review, as long as he's fit and able to do so. No doubt I will be messaged otherwise as to whether I need to make content for that day or not. You've also got all the other archives as well to peruse, be it Owen Sippin' Snacks and Voices of Liberty content, AJ's other movie reviews and verses, the Popcast movie clubs, and go back to see some of the quote-unquote classic moments from our 10 years on this, be it our live reactions or some of the time when, where the donkey with headphones was christened a few years back. Or the lizard is massive, as I described it in my OBS. Look back at some of them bits. Or me just going on about Roger Deakins and the Deakins Watch. That doesn't happen anymore because he doesn't get nominated anymore. In terms of socials, you can find me at Ash is my name UK. Owen can be found at Sir Owen Disney, and the Popcast Network account is also there as well. Literally at Popcast Network. AJ cannot be found on social media, and I might be like Keith Richards. I don't know whether Keith Richards is unwell, so get well soon, Keith, if you are. If you're not, don't get well. No. Damn it.
Great. We killed Keith Richards. Damn it, Ashley. It took you to do it, of all people.
I love the fact that everybody was scared about Charlie Puth singing last night, and then all of a sudden he sung the Friends theme when they did the Matthew Perry thing, and everyone was like, oh, we like him now. So with that, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until next time, whenever that may be, everybody, that's finally all we've got to say about that. Dear Lord, we nearly went as long as Oppenheimer.